watch party too. So anybody that comments and stuff, I'll see.
Okay. Thank you for tuning in to the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power, Sharif Hamid on YouTube. Subscribe and share so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. For those who are tuning in via Facebook, if you can do us a favor and hit the share button, and then after you hit the share button, hit watch party. What that does is bring more viewers into this much needed message. So again, for the Facebook viewers, please hit share and then hit watch party to bring more viewers into this much needed message. As always, in the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. He is one. And even if I lived to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. We thank God for the Metu Neter, oracle scriptures and writings that came on the continent of Africa thousands of years before any organized religion. We thank God for Moses in the Torah, Jesus in the Gospel, and Muhammad with the Quran. I greet everyone in words of peace. To my Christian family, praise the Lord. To my Hebrew Israelite family, shalom. To my Black Conscious family, hotep. And to my Hebrew Israelite family, shalom. And to our people in the streets, what's good to you? It all means peace. So once again, this is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour Power, Sharif Hamid on YouTube, subscribe and share so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. For those that have any questions, statements, comments, because I know this young brother's going to drop some atomic bombs on us. The call-in number is 717-846-5067. 717-846-5067. That's the call-in number. And the name of this much anticipated interview is called Eat to Live by Erick Negron. If anyone has any community announcements about positive things going on in the community, you can send them to me and I'll try to mention it or post it. I know this summer is going to be very busy. They already have a couple events going on. I know Sister Carla Christopher has the Juneteenth at her church at Union Lutheran Church, and we're dedicating that to Anthony Orr. Some people call him Tony Orr. May he rest in peace. I know they're trying to have a Pan-African festival at Penn Park around the 15th or 17th of June in honor of Sister Akila Karima, who passed away about 2 weeks ago. I was working with her, and she kept telling me to kind of take it over. So other people have, kind of stepped forward to make sure that goes on in her memory. She's been coming to York for many years doing African-based festivals. So whoever takes it over, as long as her name and what she wanted to be done, I'm cool with that. I'm sure she's happy. So if any other community events, let us know, and we'll be glad to post it. So without any further ado, my good brother Erick Negron, can you introduce yourself for us, brother?
Yes, thank you, brother. How you guys doing? Erick Negron here, owner of Healthy Living Foods. You can find Healthy Living Foods in Penn Market on Friday and Saturdays. My phone number is across the screen. You can reach me, call me for any questions that you may have regarding the business, regarding anything I may say today in the interview, or if you just need to reach out to anybody because you may need some support or some guidance or just some motivation, just feel free to give me a call. Maybe I've been to the places that you haven't been to, or you can't find anybody, just a support system. It's very hard. I know it can get very hard in this type of communities to find the support system that we need. The information is out there, but we kind of got to search for it. It's not really out in the open for us. So I can kind of lead to a lot of different avenues for you.
Right. I know you have a wealth of information to share, and ain't just pumping out information. It could be life-changing things. That's why
Yes,
we named it, Eat to Live. One of our ancestors, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, he coined that phrase. I hope the nation ain't mad at me, but I'm pretty cool with them. But it's people like yourself out there that are giving us tools and resources to just that, to eat to live. And I started seeing some of your things on Facebook, and then I finally made it by the market there.
Yes, sir.
And seeing what you were doing in person. So you are giving us tools to eat to live. But how did you get on this track or this way of life? Were you always that way, or did you tell us how you came into it?
I didn't really plan this avenue. I would say back maybe 6 to 8 years ago, I just started picking up books again. I started reading. Some of the stuff that I started reading more, it started with true history, the stuff they don't really teach you in school, stuff on holidays and our ancestors, stuff like that. And then I just kept reading, man, and I would get deeper and deeper over the years, into the metaphysical world, the Egyptians, astrology, health, pretty much everything that had dealt with life in and out, whether it was just health, the cosmetics we were taking, the food we were taking, the environment we were in. Why are we in this environment? How did we end up here? Why are we stuck like this? Why do we think the way that we think? Why are we taught what we taught? I started questioning everything, questioning self. I started basically learning knowledge of self.
Was there any particular group or individual that kind of sparked your interest, or was it just a vast?
I would say it was a vast majority of information. Different people on YouTube or different articles might have caught my attention, but I would say it was just a vast majority of information.
Okay. And once you started, have you always been here in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I've been in New York since I was 5 years old. I was born in Puerto Rico, but I've been living in New York, Pennsylvania since I was 5.
Oh, okay. And you went to York High?
Yeah, I'm a graduate of York High, 2001.
Oh, okay. All right. And so once you started coming across this information, when did you actually start implementing it in
my life?
In your life?
I have been plant-based. Basically, I don't eat any animal products. I started off step by step. I've been on this. I haven't had any animal products in over 2 years.
Wow.
I haven't consumed any animal products. The processed foods are just about 2 years, and so on. So it's been about a little over 2 years that this whole lifestyle or diet that I've been living it like that. But it was a work in progress. The education was, a lot of people ask me, how can they do it? It's motivation. I tell them educate, because we have to reprogram our mind. When you come to study these things, we have been programmed to eat the way we have. We may not think of it, but our parents or our father or our mother fed us a certain way from the moment we came out their womb.
Right.
And somebody taught your parents how to eat. And so forth and so forth and so forth. So this goes back decades and hundreds of years.
Right.
So when I tell people, really research your history. What is the human body? We are Homo sapiens. How does our digestive system work? How does our teeth work? How do we digest food? What do we need? What minerals and elements do we need to survive? What is the human body composed of? Just a little bit of different things that we could do education on ourselves. But I started off slowly, and to be honest, I started off buying less meat to save money at my house, and months were coming by where I was counting on one finger how much meat I ate in a month. And during this time, I was educating myself, but I wasn't really saying, hey, I'm going to stop eating this. I was just educating, and then I was eating less and less of this and that. And then so one day I told myself, you know what, next month I'm just not going to eat any more meat. And I started like that, and I've been going ever since. No regrets. I feel better than I ever have. My body feels really light. My mind feels really light. Skin is clear. My energy I was always very energetic. My energy levels are through the roof right now.
And you attribute
I have to force myself to go to sleep. That's how high vibrating I am.
Wow. Well, that's certainly a testimony, but I like what you said, and I know it to be true, and I know that might be a hard pill to swallow for people, but we have been programmed to eat, the way, we eat.
It's easy. It's like, I tell people, don't watch TV too much, because if you pay attention to TV, like cable TV will have commercials. You may be watching something that you picked, but as soon as the infomercial come in, they start talking about a cheeseburger or a piece of food, or they try to sell the kids toys. It's all marketing. It's just prime example of how something works, how you get programmed, how an idea starts off as a thought, and somebody makes it real, but it's always somebody else's idea. So that McDonald's franchise, that Happy Meal, that is somebody else's idea that they implemented on us. Now, what are we going to do with it? So in urban communities, our place is known as a food desert, because if you go outside, you're going to find a grocery store that more likely you have to drive to. If you can walk to the grocery store, 70% of what's in the grocery stores, if you study what a grocery store is, 70% of the products in grocery stores are not good for us. They tell you to.
You said in the like Giant, Wise's.
Some people call them casket stores, because 70% of the items in grocery stores are not good for us. They tell people. I used to work in a grocery store, so I have experience in a grocery store. They aim to sell you bigger things. So I can make you buy 10 mangoes because I just got a pallet of mangoes and I stocked the shelf and I made it real look pretty when you weren't thinking of buying mangoes. I've seen this with my own eyes. They will take cereal. The grocery stores take the cereal, and they take the most unnatural cereals, ones loaded with sugars and the food coloring and all that, and they put that low in the aisles.
So high level
you
for
walk,
children.
Exactly. The candy is in the checkout area, so you see it. So when you shop in a grocery store, you're supposed to stay on outer perimeter, stay out of the middle, because the middle is all processed foods and stuff. But if you come to find out, the meat industry, the dairy industry, there's a lot of ugly stuff going on behind closed doors. Netflix has tons of documentaries. You can go on YouTube also and watch a lot of stuff on the meat industry, the dairy industry, the food industries. These big corporations that are in these grocery stores that are making these commercials, all this marketing, and what they're really doing, or what their foods do to us.
Well, I know what you said from the marketing point of view is true, because when I used to be a counselor in North Carolina with children, kind of what I do now, but a part of my job was to go to these gas stations in the inner city, and I was supposed to make sure that they had signs there carding youth, so youth would not be able to get tobacco. That's basically what I did. But these stores in the inner city like 7-Eleven, BP, they were real popular in the South. So when I had my little checkoff sheet, just what you said was the opposite, because they were not supposed to market tobacco products where youth can directly see it. That's why when you go to these stores in the inner city, they're most of the time behind the counter and they're up high, because it was the reverse of what you said that they do in grocery stores. They have all that stuff that they don't need at eye level, but cereal and candy, that's not illegal for youth. They market it to them. But since tobacco is illegal for youth, by law, they have to position it where they're not putting it right in front of them. Again, that's why the tobacco products are behind the counter mostly and up high. It's not supposed to be, and I could actually write them up. If it was like 3 feet or lower, I'd be like, hey, you got to change that. And they would have a certain amount of time. So it's definitely a direct marketing tool to our youth. Now they're selling Easter candy. As soon as you walk in the store, it's right there. So of course a child is going to want
when we
that.
talk about candy, something that it bothers me. So in the mornings, you could probably see this. You'll have kids before school go to the stores and they walk out with soda, juices, and chips.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there could be there's many reasons for that. Maybe they don't have somebody at home that morning to feed them breakfast or give them something to eat. They don't have a responsible elder or parent buying them groceries to keep groceries in the house. You know, it could be a lot of many things. Maybe they do have parents, and the parents just have not been informed, so they can inform their kids.
Right.
And you know, we're not pointing the finger at nobody. There is a lot of misinformation as far as what you're supposed to be consuming, how much you're supposed to be consuming, what's right, what's correct, what's wrong, and you can easily get on Google and get 10 different answers. So if you don't know what you're looking for, you might be like, oh, that's correct and that's wrong. Or some people don't research nothing. They just hear what their doctor says and just run with that. And I tell people, educate yourself, but even after you educate yourself, nothing changes unless you put stuff into practice.
Right.
And each individual has to put things into practice. And you know, there's an old ancient proverb: the enemy is within, and that is nothing short of the truth. Everything that we battle is within. I tell people all the time, study how vision works, and you would really take a new look on life. You know, if you have 15, 30 minutes, get on YouTube, study how your eyes and vision and the brain and the nervous system and all those things communicate with each other and give you a perception of what you see. And I really want you to study that, and then after you're done, really sit back, and you should look at your life a little bit different and know that you have more control than what you think you have control.
Right. Do you think sugar is addictive?
Artificial fake sugar, yes, it's a drug. Sugar should have never ever been on the in any foods or anything. I don't know if it's still on Netflix. I watched this documentary years ago. It was a documentary on Netflix called Sugar Coated. Look that up. If it's not on Netflix, I'm sure you can find it. It's one of the best documentaries I've ever seen on sugar, and it'll give you the whole 411 on sugar from way back in the 30s and 40s. Some lady found some paperwork, and she just found stuff that on sugar that they knew and they didn't share with the public before they put it in cakes and sodas and all that. And sugar is a drug. It is very addicting. Yes, most people are addicted to sugar, salt, blood, oils. It's not the foods, it's what's in the foods.
Wow.
There's certain nerves on your tongue. They actually have scientists that study the stuff on your tongue, and certain things make your nerves on your tongue jump, and they know that make your tongue jump, and they put that in food, so then when you eat it, you become addicted to it.
Wow, man, that's deep, man. I hope y'all are listening.
Sugar and there's a difference. Sugar is artificial. The sweet fruit has carbohydrates, also known as mitochondriacs. So please don't confuse natural, simple carbohydrates with sugar. Sugar is artificial. It's created in a laboratory, and it's added to sodas and processed foods and stuff. Natural sugar, carbohydrates, mitochondriacs are found in your fruit. They contain glucose. Your brain runs on glucose, proteins, proteins are amino acids, and lipids, which are fats. Those are your main three things that your body runs off. Glucose is the main one, and you get that from fruit. Your brain and your body and your cells need that to work and heal.
So basically, sugar is an empty carbohydrate.
The artificial one.
Yes.
Yes. You need to get off of that stuff or consume as least as possible as you can. It's hard. It calls you. I tell people, study parasites. They live in you. Some of the foods that we eat, the meats, the dairies, a parasite can only live in a body because we become the perfect host for them. So if these parasites like acidy foods, processed foods, meats, they're constantly going to live in there, and they're never going to get out because you are feeding them the environment. These parasites can steal nutrition from you. They literally tap into your nervous system and control your thoughts. So let's say, for example, you're one of those people that's trying to go on a healthy lifestyle. Here it comes, 8, 9 o'clock at night. Here comes that kick that you're trying to get over.
Almost like a drug.
It's they're literally tapping into you. They're little beings. They're entities. They're living organisms that live inside of you. And certain people, and we all have parasites in us. It's a good ratio and a bad ratio. But some of us are harvesting a lot of negative things because we're eating a lot of bad foods. But the environment, it's just not the health is more. I tell people it's more than just the food. It's what are you doing on a daily basis. What kind of environment do you work in an office that's surrounded by a ton of computers, and you're never going outside and getting grounded or getting fresh air. You're constantly in the house. That's not good for you. You're in a bad relationship. You're in an abusive relationship. That's bad for your health. You're eating bad foods. Of course that's bad for your health. What kind of music are you listening to? What kind of TV are you soaking in? Everything is your health. Everything affects your health.
Mm-hmm. Man, this brother is dropping it. That's why I couldn't wait to bring you on. Again, don't be shy because you're not going to get this information, I think, anywhere else. 717-846-5067 is the call-in number if you have any questions or comments. We're talking about what we're, accustomed to doing. And at some point, all of us were guilty of it. But is fast food like McDonald's, is that real food?
No, there's nothing fast food.
I know I'm going to step on a lot of toes with this one, but this is about the truth.
Fast food.
Why not? Hamburger?
It's not living food.
Okay.
So we're made out of trillions of cells, and electricity is everywhere. I'll read something real quick. Electricity is everywhere, even in the human body. Our cells are specialized to conduct electrical currents. The elements in our bodies like sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium have specific electrical charge. Almost all our cells can use them. The fate of cells is controlled by the environment. Our cells are specialized to conduct electrical currents. The elements in our bodies like sodium, potassium, calcium, and magnesium have specific electrical charges. Almost all of our cells use these electrical elements called ions to generate electricity. The flow of charged ions causes your heart to beat, your muscles to contract, but nowhere in the body is electrical activity better documented than the brain, which contains roughly 100 billion electrical conductive biological wires. So, just to touch up on that, your food should be living. Every time we cook food, even if it's so-called fruits or vegetables that were healthy and we cook them, we diminish the enzymes, the nutrients in them. So we are taking nutrients out of our food that were for us. So when I tell people eat a raw plant-based diet as much as you possibly can, it means eat fruits and vegetables raw as much as you possibly can. If you have to cook something, boil it or steam it, you can cook something to a certain amount of degrees and it's technically still considered raw. Start off slowly. If you're going to use, to answer your question, no, that food is not living. So fast food has additives. You don't know where it came from. More than likely it was created in some laboratory with a whole bunch of additives. And plain and simple, if you take an apple, there's a special camera that can take pictures of stuff, and it'll literally show you the electric on the food. It takes a picture of the food, and it shows that the food is vibrating. You can take a piece of meat, and it'll have a small vibration, not much. You cook the meat and have even no vibration. You take a piece of broccoli, some vibration. You cook it down, less vibration. Everything is vibrational. All the elements that I just mentioned, like the sodium, the carbon, all that comes from the soil. How do you get that? Eat plants. Plants are tree, vine, bush, fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts. But we are natural food vegetarians. That is the highest electromagnetic food for us. It has living energy, antioxidants, the nutrients, everything that you need for your cells, the energy, the antioxidants for to fight off diseases. Touching up on the grounding, we're electrical beings, so getting grounded, we don't get grounded enough. We stopped getting grounded probably in the early 1900s when they started mass producing sneakers and adding plastic and rubber to our shoes, more concrete. We don't farm anymore, so we're barely barefooted anymore. We're surrounded by computers. We're walking around with cell phones. All this is health. People don't think about that. A lot of people just think about food. Getting grounded improves circulation, oxygen and nutrients to the tissue of the body, helps with sleep, helps reduce pain. The earth is like a gigantic battery that contains natural electric charge. Many people live with daily stress, anxiety, depression, pain, fatigue, lupus. All your cells transmit frequencies that run our heart, immune system, muscles, and nervous system. Grounding decreases level of inflammation and pain, reduces stress levels, improves the sleep, increases energy. And this is free. Nothing that I'm talking about right now involves a prescription from a doctor and anybody. This basically, I like to tell people, connect back to the source. Connect back to earth. we are living cells. If you study cells, before you talk about any food, cells need oxygen, they need water, and they need light. And you get all those things from going outside and being in a good, comfortable environment. You know, if you go outside for 30 minutes a day, take your shoes off. If you can't take your shoes off, just sit with a tree or something and just hang out, read a book or something. But I guarantee this will help your sleep, help you calm, help a lot of things. You know, some people can't eat healthy because they're too stressed out. They got too many other things going on. Everything is in the mind. So if your mind ain't right, then that diet you're trying to do ain't right. So maybe getting grounded or separating from the noise, getting away from the wife, the husband, the kids, the job for a week or two will be more beneficial. So when you come back, your mind's more right, and you be like, all right, I gotta stop eating this, or I gotta eat healthier. A lot of the reasons we eat the way we do is because of the conditions, the environment that we live in, the stress that we're put under.
Right. Man, it's a lot, man. I can't thank you enough for this information.
Sorry, it's distractions. We're constantly distracted. A lot of us get up in the morning, hit that alarm clock before we even take care of self. SELLF, self. We're made of 70 trillion cells. You study cells, you'll learn that every cell has its own spinal cord, its own membrane, its own respiratory system. It's its own thinking machine, and they unite together.
Yes. So don't recommend fast food. I mean, McDonald's is everywhere.
I don't recommend any fast food. You know, I don't recommend a lot of things, but I know I've been on my journey for more than other people. So I just tell people.
How do you get started on this? Like, someone's been eating meat
education, because you have some of the, you know, you can watch different types of videos. You can watch videos that are actually going to be gruesome and show you stuff with animals getting killed and butchered and the way they live and the dirtiness. Or you can just watch how the ecosystem's being depleted. Like, people that even consume mass animals through the grocery stores, you are adding to the environment, the depleting of the environment, of the natural resources. You may think you're not because you're not doing something, but when you're supporting these companies that are mass producing animals, killing trees, growing corn, and growing, you know, we're growing wheat and stuff like that to feed the animals, not to feed us, to feed the animals that we then butcher. Cows release so much gas, the effluent gas in the air. Is pollution. We have no ecosystems. The pesticides that they spray, because of corn and soy are two of the most genetically modified products in the world. I don't eat corn. Corn is undigestible. It doesn't digest when you eat it. Then they grind it up and they feed it to all the livestock, and then the livestock we eat the livestock. They use it for processed foods. Same thing with the soy.
Wow.
Just keep going on and on.
Right.
It's endless.
I know what you're saying about I remember what you said about the additives that they add, you know, to food. I remember one time, I was when I was working, and a coworker of mine, a female, she got some McDonald's, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm getting ready to go on vacation for about 2 weeks or whatever." So she had her bag of McDonald's, the French fries there, and she got a phone call. And she left, but she left her food there. I was like, well, I'm not going to bother her food. And she had her own cubicle desk. She came back 2 weeks later. She was like, you guys ain't throw away my food? I was like, no, we ain't going to, bother your food. Ain't like it, started smelling or anything. But my point is, the French fries looked exactly, they didn't break down in 2 weeks. I said, how can this be real food and supposed to be a potato, and it looked the same as when she got them, because she was on vacation for about 2 weeks. Right then, I was like, man, something isn't right. It didn't even break down. Yeah. Is that normal?
Who knows what's in that food? Real food to me is something that grows out of the ground of a tree. It's living information. So
seeds.
Yeah, yeah. If it can have seeds, better. But 99.9 of the foods that we eat today are hybrids. So, I tell people the best thing we can do is we live in an environment, you talk to me personal, I'm moving back to the tropics. Why am I moving back to the tropics? Because all the alkaline water that needs over there, fresh seawater, river water, more green, more brown as far as nature. I just told you about grounding, what that does to the body. That is one of the best healing things that you could do other than anything, is basically just